Hello all and welcome to this webinar about automating cabling estimation by AlphaBOLD. Before I get into any detailed agenda and intros, I just want to establish why we're here today. It's because one way or the other, all of us are involved with or interested in cabling estimation for bidding for multiple projects. It's usually low voltage cabling. The problem really is that a lot of that process hasn't really changed in about 30 years. Yes, digital tools have come in, but a lot of that process is still largely manual. We've gone from printing out PDFs to maybe doing markups on the PDF itself, but we still using spreadsheets. We're doing a lot of that manually. An average mid-sized commercial project takes anywhere between half a day to 2 days. And then if the drawing changes, which it almost always does, then you just start from scratch again. So the reason we're here today is we want to cover an AI tool that will automate cabling. And before we get into that, I really want to identify the problem we're solving. Because yes, anyone who's involved in estimation knows that how time consuming that is, which is absolutely there. But for all executives and managers here, it's not the time that it's costing us. Remember, we need to be highly accurate because we're bidding on projects. Because if we don't do it right, we either overbid, which means we're losing on the project anyway, or we underbid, and that eventually eats into all our margins. So that is something we're going to cover today in how we can automate that. In one, giving you your time back, but obviously two, just making sure we're accurate every single time. Maybe if we could just move on. Yeah. So that brings me to the agenda. I'll quickly do team intros. I'll introduce AlphaBOLD, and then I'll pass over to our VP Consulting, who will talk you through the tool itself. At the end, we'll reserve some time for questions and answers. So here's the team. Tayyab Ali will be presenting the tool today. He's had over 20 years of experience in consulting. Yes, AI has been a big buzz last few years, but Tayyab is someone who's had a master's in AI for over 8 years. So he's been solving critical problems with AI solutions for a while now. He's got a lot of experience over 10 years in AEC industry, specifically with specialty, subspecialty, and service contractors. Temur, which is myself, I'm the sales manager at AlphaBOLD. I'm personally an engineer, a mechanical engineer, so I've also spent a lot of time with manufacturing and AEC. I've had over 16 years in technology sales. I have a master's in global innovation management, but more importantly, I'm really passionate about innovative technologies. And I'm really glad I'm doing this webinar with you guys today. Right, company introduction. Look, before we dive further, AlphaBOLD as a business really believes in solving challenging problems, leveraging technology. And what we really value and what our vision is to give customers 10x joy by giving them their time back, by solving complex problems using technology. And like I said before, that's one of the problems we'll be discussing today. In general, we're a technology consulting company based out of California. We partner with Microsoft and NetSuite. We do a bunch of their products, including ERP and CRMs. We are industry agnostic generally, but a lot of our customers are within manufacturing, architecture, engineering, construction, and financial services sectors, because we bring a lot of financial expertise to these sectors. We've, over the years, developed our own unique IPs as well, and some of our products are listed here. And one of the products is what we'll talk you through today. We also provide 24/5 support. And as we go further, Tayyab will explain a bit around that. With that, I'll just quickly cover our values. And again, trust me on this, it's not just a slide. We really live our values. We hold ourselves accountable to a higher degree of transparency and trust. And we expect the same with our partners and our customers as well. We are highly driven and passionate about technology and solving complex problems for our customers. Like I said earlier, we believing in 10xing the joy for our customers by giving them their time back. And when I say that, what I really mean is we believe that AI, just like all technology that has ever existed, it's meant to serve us better. And that's what we're trying to drive with all our AI solutions as well. We believe in giving back to the community, and we give 10% or more of all our profits back to our communities, and we've really democratized that as well. So, all our employees can actually vote on what values or what where they want our profits to go. And lastly, we believe in transparency and trust. And that's what we do with our customers as well. Having covered that, I'll just pass this on to Tayyab, because I know you're all here to actually go through the AI tool, and Tayyab will take you through that shortly.
Thank you, Taimur. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I promised you this is the last slide about AlphaBOLD, and then we'll jump on exactly what you're here for, which is the estimation. But AlphaBOLD as an organization does a lot more than just estimation. So on the top row, you see all the services that we provide. The one that I want to specifically call out is Dynamics 365. We have a complete estimation buyout phase, then from there going into pre-construction or pre-production, and then project management, and then the financial services piece. And what we will be covering today is kind of something that gets plugged into automating estimation process within that. So we have that whole module. We won't cover that in any detail today, but I'll talk about it a little bit and then show you AI-based automation for the estimation process. These are all the different ways in which we engage as a consulting company, and then our methodology is rolled out. We have a huge emphasis on training and enabling our customers so they could use the best technology out there for automating their processes. I'll skip this for now because I just here want to explain that we also provide management consulting, looking at your processes and improving those. But that's maybe for another day if you're interested in that. And with that, let's talk about our cable estimation tool. So like Timur mentioned, what we wanted to do was to be able to leverage AI to be able to automate a manual cable estimation process. Now, the tool that we are building obviously can go across multiple sub-industries in the service industry. For example, HVAC companies can do that for identification of HVAC units. Grid wall companies can use it for grid wall areas. We can have cabling companies like yourself use it for cable length as well as the outlet detection that you have for different outlets that you have in the drawings, and so on and so forth. What we are trying to do is to make sure that we could give you your time back. So if you have been benchmarking the amount of time that you are spending on downloading the bit from different websites that are out there, then going through those, identifying the pages that are of interest to you, and then either you're using Bluebeam or some of the other tools to mark end-to-end points and then calculate the length of your cables, or you probably are just doing it manually. We can eliminate all of that, which also then eliminates some of the mistakes that you can make. Some companies, to be honest, they have a team that is doing the estimation and a team that is reviewing, because it is such an important scope piece of the estimation. And if you get that right, the takeoff is wrong, then obviously the estimate is wrong. And then obviously the idea is that you have these estimators, and in smaller organizations, specifically in the service industry, people are wearing multiple hats. You can rather have those people spend time going on site and doing the on-site visits, working with the customers, executing the project, rather than spending their time on the estimation. So we want to obviously reduce that as well. The solution that we have, we believe that we can save multiple hours. We want to bring it down to 3 easy steps. It can work on different site plans, different engineering drawings. You don't need a CAD software or a CAD plugin to be able to pull in your drawings. You can just upload your PDFs into that. It can do multiple configurations, which we'll talk more about. And then you have a lot of flexibility with it because it's not a SaaS-based application, and I'll share more details on that as well. How it works is that we have a web-based interface. You log into that. It is user-specific, so each user can have their own login. You create your project, you upload your drawing essentially, and it's configurable where you can select any object you want detected in that drawing. So we understand that some organizations would be using, for example, a triangle as an outlet. Some could be using a square a small hexagon, whatever. So you just can use the same software to be able to detect any of those. And then it identifies that object across the pages that are of relevance. And also it measures the cable path and traces it for you and gives you the cable length in those drawings. The idea being that we want to reduce your 2 to 4 hours to under 5 minutes. We want it to be very simple because we understand that we don't want technology to be a barrier to entry or to use this software. We want it to be 100% automated, but we also have this provision of what we refer to as human in the loop. So based on that, you can set up certain confidence levels. And if the detection is less than that confidence level, then it can send you an email so that you could eyeball it. But still, it can significantly reduce the time that you're spending on it. But in most instances, you won't even need to eyeball anything and it will detect everything accurately, especially as it gets more mature in your specific environment. So we can do faster bits. We don't want to have you guys do any rework on that, and we can provide you real cost savings. And with that, what I want to do is I want to just jump into the demonstration. Before I do that, I just want to highlight one thing. It's not a product. What do I mean by that is that most of you are used to having per user per month licenses for an application where you upload your drawings and then use markers to mark the different shapes, and then it gives you a takeoff. Our philosophy is different. We have built this software, and this is based on a lot of feedback we have received from a lot of your colleagues in the industry. And then you get stuck in that per user per month model, and you guys have been using these applications for years. We wanted to have an application that you could have a perpetual license for. The only cost that is involved is that when we onboard you as a customer, we'll have to train on some of your nuanced objects that you want detected. So we'll plug in a model, an AI model that can give you maximum efficiency for your specific object of interest. And it could be multiple. And as you see that demonstration, you will understand exactly what I'm talking about here. So with that, let me just bring up this application and walk you through a demonstration here. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put those in the Q&A section. And Temur and the other team members are actually reviewing that, so they will be able to pass that on to me. Okay. So in here, this is the tool. I'll talk more about that, which talks about the cabling and outlet takeoff. But what I'll do in here is I'll go in and I'll say, create a new project. So I'll say, cabling estimation. We are based in Carlsbad in San Diego, so I'll just use that. You can put in anything, obviously, in here, but for this demo, I'm using Carlsbad School District. All data that I'm using, it's fictitious data, so there's nothing necessarily there. You can put in any address, but for the sake of this, I'll just put in a random address here. Carlsbad. Now, in here, we can have more configurations for you as we onboard you as a customer. So for example, if you say that I'm doing cabling and for every volt, I want 5 feet of cable added. For every MDF or IDF, I want X feet of cables added. You can have those things added into the configurations. But for now, I'll just say create. So this you can see here, it is asking me, what do you want to do with this estimation process? And it has these two kind of options. I can do object detection and I can do cable detection. So the first thing is that this allows me to configure this tool. If I want to be able to do additional things, I'll be able to select those as well. But for specific this demo, because I want to show you cable estimation, I'm just going to select this. Right, so I just hit next. Now what I want to do is I want to upload my drawings in here. So the drawing that I'll be using in this case is this particular specific drawing. Again, fictitious data like I was telling you, but you can see in here, in this I have here my cable that I want detected. So this is going from this MDF, and you see it kind of gets to the end of the sheet, which means it continues on to the next one. So I want this page and this page to be part of this. And then obviously I have in here some of the outlets as well. So you can see here I have these triangles in terms of the outlets that I wanted detected. And you see I also have these numbers which tell me it's a single cable run or multiple cable run and so on and so forth. So this is the drawing that I will be uploading into that estimation tool. So I could then use for automatic AI-based estimation. So I'll go in here and I'll select this for low voltage. And what's going to happen here is that it uploads that, and then it provides me a provision to be able to select the object and also select the pages that are of relevance to me. Why we did it this way is because when you download these drawings, these could be hundreds of megabytes. So it uploads everything, but you don't want the AI model to go through everything because a lot of those pages, as you know, are not of any relevance to you. Because you are, let's say if you're a cabling company, you only want the pieces that have a cable, pages that have a cable in it, or a drawing, a site plan that has a cable in it, or a drawing that has an outlet in it. If you're a HVAC company, you would probably only need the mechanical drawings in it. It takes a minute or so. This one that I uploaded is around 95 MB, but you will see that it is pretty efficient in terms of uploading that in there. And when you have uploaded it, it also shows you all of those pages in this format. So you could then preview these pages and detect what you're looking for. So for example, if I hit this preview, you can see in here that this is my technology legend. So I can detect which object, I can select which object to detect in these drawings. And I'll show you that in a second. But as you can see, I want to select this page because this is where I'll have the identification of my object. And it's telling me here which object to detect, open a short visit. So I can select that object, but I'll not do it right now. And it's also asking me in here to use preview to zoom in and include these pages and select the pages where you want these objects to be detected. So for now, you can see I have this page 10. It has a bunch of those triangles that I was showing you. So these outlets in a way. So I want this page to be part of my estimation automation. So I'll select, okay, I want this, and I can select all of these, but just to reduce the amount of time it will take, and I'll show it to you. I'm just going to select these two pages for now. And then if I go to the next page, it will tell me that you have not selected the object to detect. So you see it says object not selected. And then what I do is I go up in here and I actually detect that, select that object. So I come in here and I say, so I wanted to detect this triangle. So I just kind of zoomed in here and I say, okay, just detect this guy. And now I say preview crop. So we understand that you might have different objects in your business. If you are obviously a cabling company, they might be similar to this, but based on some of those large organizations that are producing these, it could be a different symbol as well. So that's the reason why we made it configurable that you can select whichever object of interest in here. And once you do that, what it does is kind of maps it to the models that is pre-trained. So you can see there's already a model in here which is trained on the triangle. Now let's say if you have drawings that have different symbols, we will be training those as well. And that's what I meant when I said it's not a ready to go application where you start paying per user per month. What usually happens is that you say you're interested in it. We look at some of the drawings you have. We say, okay, what type of objects you have. We train the models. We configure them in here so that they're all part of your estimation automation. And then we deploy this solution for you so that you could start using that. And like I said, it's a perpetual license and you can continue to use that forever without paying per user per month for that. So I did that. Then what it's saying is that same PDF object, choose which sheets to run for cable detection. So now, because originally, if you remember when I started, I said I want to do two things. I want to do object detection and cable detection. So it's saying which pages you want for cable. So I go in here. I obviously want this one because this is an MDF run all the way. So I select this guy here. And then I want, because this shows me that the cable run continues to the second sheet, I want to be able to detect this cable as well in here, right? So I'm going to select this one as well. I select this. And these are the two pages I want selected. And I hit configure. So now you can see it's telling me that I have selected two pages for my triangle object run. And I have these two pages for cable detection. And it's asking me for the confidence level. So obviously, if I say 100% confident, then it will detect some less objects if it is not 100% sure. but usually it's pretty accurate. So I'll say that, hey, detect everything that is, say, around 85% confidence level. And this is where in this tool you can have multiple configurations. If you would like that if something is less than 85, it could annotate it with red and send an email to you. So you're just then validating those red annotated objects. Again, you can imagine how much time it still saves you because you won't have to annotate all of them yourself, maybe only a couple of those that are very difficult to auto detect that it will send you that email. But for the most part, I can select any confidence level here. I select 85% and I say, okay, review. Now it's telling me that this is kind of the overall selection you have. You have two pages, 10 and 11. Page 4 is essentially for selecting the object. So it's mentioning that as well. It's telling the confidence level. Then it's telling me about the cable detection, and it's using page 8 and 9 for that. It is also giving me here an estimated runtime. And this is where you can see the actual impact. So rather than spending hours going through each and making mistakes and going through validation, it says it can get it done in 3 minutes. So the idea is you hit start processing here. It will start working on it. You go have a coffee, you come back, and your estimation is done for you. The first page obviously goes fast because it has nothing in it. It will take some time for the rest of these pages, but while it is doing that, let me just on a separate browser here show you an example of how it looks, and we'll come back to this as it's done. It will, like I said, it will be 3 minutes. I don't want you to just wait and see this for 3 minutes, but you can see it's kind of doing all of these simultaneously. So these pages are being processed, and then cable detection is being processed as well simultaneously as we do that. So what happens is if I go to the home page here, you see this one, the one that I just started, is in process, but then I have multiple here that are completed. So this one I had already run. So I'll show you, for example, how it looks. So you see, this is how it detects these triangles on these, the outlets. And then what it also does is it gives you the confidence level on all of them. So for example, in here, you can see it's telling me that it has identified with high confidence, 89 percent confidence. There's no low confidence detections. There's no flagged items as such. If there were flagged items, you could click on those and just review those flagged items. It has detected one cable run, wall mount 77, and then ceiling mounts 12. And again, this is something that we can train for you as well, so it can detect those things. And based on that, I'll tell you a little bit more about how it generates the takeoff and then what else you can do with it. But in here, it's now telling me about each of these. So S triangle, ones, and all the confidence level. And you can see, because obviously we have trained thoroughly on this, so it's fairly accurate in here. And then while I'm showing you this, let me go back here and see. It's almost 40% done, so it should be done in a second here. Another thing I want to show is the cable run. So it has cable pages separated out than the object pages. So same thing goes for all the pages I have in here. All the outlets are detected, but obviously this is pre-processed. I want to show it to you live. So this should be done in a minute or so here now because we're getting close. Okay, perfect. So it says that it's 100% complete now. So I'll go and I'll say, okay, show me these results. I can scroll up and now you can see the live data that it detected. So you go through this, it is annotating all of these triangles. You can see it is fairly accurate. It also detects the cable runs. You see this one number next to some of these outlets, so it is able to detect that as well. That's important because obviously that tells you how many cables to put in there. But one other thing I want to show you, so same thing here as well. I won't show you the confidence level because we already covered that. But let me show you the cable runs now and the feet. So you can see it reads the scale itself. It uses the scale on the right mostly because that doesn't necessarily change as you zoom in and zoom out. And then from that, the AI determines whichever exposure it is kind of detecting it that what is the amount of length of that cable. So this first path that it is detecting, it's saying it's 331 feet. Obviously, we haven't so far configured what to add for a vault or an MDF. And the second one, you can see it's 249 feet. If I go to the subsequent page in here, you will see that this one, I have another cable run which is C, which is 110 feet, and then another that is going to this gym that is also 50 feet, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of how it detects. I can now, as a user, either approve or I can say, no, I'm not happy with this. I can also download these, by the way, images. So for example, if I'm here and I want to just download this image, I click the download image and I can download these. But let's assume for a second that I am happy with what I see. I hit approve and continue. And it says, do you want to create this Excel? I say, okay, download this Excel. And I want to show you how it does this takeoff. So I'm going to pull up this Excel here for you. So this is the Excel that it generated. And you can see on these pages, it's telling me on page 10, you have a total of 98 outlets. It's giving me different configuration. And this is where we can do a lot more with this. And I'll talk more about that in that capacity of that whole estimation and project management software that we have. And this becomes part of it, where we can, if you have a vendor list, we can send emails to those vendors, we can get pricing, we can calculate labor hours based on this automatically. So you don't have to do anything for the complete bid package. But today's focus is essentially about automating the takeoff aspect of it. So I'm just focusing on that, but there's a lot more that can be done based on this core piece that it has automatically detected. And it's telling me the pages. So for example, this is page 8. And if I come to page 11, it's telling me what was detected on the page 11 as well. So that's kind of a quick demo of this. And then I want to show you here very quickly. Sorry about that. So this is a tool. So you can see prior to this, when we didn't have this AI piece in the sales cycle, what would happen is that you would come in here, you would go into the document section, you would upload your drawings, right? So for example, this is the same drawing that I did. I won't open it again. But then you would go into procurement, you would put in your materials. So for example, you can see I have telecommunication, outlet, wall mount, and I have 100 of these. And then in this software, it was trained that if for each it takes, let's say 1.5 hours, so it's kind of saying 150 hours. Now imagine with that AI piece, we can integrate that right in here. So it will automatically bring in all the procurement from that Excel sheet that I was showcasing you. So it can bring in these into that estimation automatically in case you want to go over and beyond just the estimation and you want to automate your end-to-end bidding process. So that's our kind of vision, that we continue to incorporate AI into this larger tool that we have, which allows you to do sales. It allows you to be able to do your projects. It allows you to be able to do your bids from here, to generate your proposal. It's integrated with DocuSign. But slowly we'll start incorporating AI into this. But we understand that some of you might already have tools that we are using. So far for this one, as you can see, it's a standalone application. You can just use it for your estimation and then just stop at that Excel output that it generates for you and just use that as a tool that you can then either use with some of the other tools that you have for bidding, or you just download it and then you put in manually your labor hours and your other materials that you need and get the vendor pricing and get your bid ready for that. Any questions we have, Temur, so far?
Yeah, we actually have a comment, but that's quite insightful. So Cable Masters asked, ideally, we would eventually be able to dump a large PDF of entire project plans, and the software tells us what pages are low voltage, and we can focus on that instead of reviewing all 100 pages. So do you think that's something we can train the tool on?
We can absolutely do that. So, for example, when you say, so there are a couple of things to consider there. This tool right now, as you probably saw, I'll go back to the home page, can process 150 MB of file. And the reason for that is because we wanted to make it browser based, right? For example, when I go new, let me start something here. Okay, guys, say create, and I select this. You see it says 150 MB max. Why? Because we don't want it to just slow down because you have a huge package file. If you have a larger file than that, what we will do is probably we'll ask you to upload it somewhere, and then it can just parse it from there, just from the speed perspective. But then coming to the second aspect of your question, so one is just a large drawing. And the second is that obviously when I upload something, then I have to detect which page to go. So if it's a huge file which has say 200 pages, I understand your question that you have to go select one by one. It can do those selections for you as well because it doesn't need to have a lot of accuracy on that. So what we do at the back end is we can convert them into images so that we could process them faster, and we can highlight those and we can say these are the ones that are of interest to you. So we can absolutely do that. But the way we have it right now is more for you to select and give it the pages where you want it to do outlet detection. But the detection process is the same. So essentially your problem, what you're asking for, gets automatically solved because I can do quick detection of even a single object in there. So if I could detect one outlet, then that page is a relevant page that I should be considering, right? So we can definitely do that as well. But for now, what we wanted was that you could see all the pages, as I'll show it to you again. And then once you see those pages from there, you can just tell the software of which ones you are interested in. So it could go faster on those. But if, for example, if here I detect through all of these pages that page 10, 11, and 12 are of interest to me, then this process would probably take a little bit longer because it will have to go through each page and detect at least one object and say, okay, this is the relevant page. Can it be done 100%? But that's not just a design that we have. But like I said, it's not a SaaS-based application. You just don't pay per user per month for it. The idea is that we configure it for you. We train models based on your specific needs. So we can absolutely do it for you as we deploy that. All the plumbing and the wiring and the capability is already there to be able to do what you are asking for.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Tayyab. I think I've got a couple more.
Go ahead.
So will it do duct banks and takeoff trench, ready mix, conduit, and electrical wire cabling?
Yes, so that's the reason why I chose this cable piece. So essentially, what you're saying is very similar to detecting, for example, for HVAC companies. I was talking to one of them where they wanted to do duct lengths, right? And there is another company that wants to do pipe lengths and fittings. So it can detect those inside a drawing. So as you can see, it can detect this cable. It can detect those as well for you. We just have to train it so that it could function for you. And the training process is, as we start onboarding you, we get your samples, we train the model, we plug it in, and then you can start using it and testing it out, and it will start giving you the results that you see in this demonstration.
Right. Yeah. Um, Jonathan also asked if the product is basically for low voltage.
No, it's not actually. It can work for HVAC companies as well. So that's why I was trying to explain. That's the reason why we put in the provision that you detect the object. So for example, if I select this, right, I go into this detection of the object and I say, this is the page where I have this object. Imagine if you are not a low voltage company. So you're not interested in, say, this triangle in here. What you are interested in is a hexagon, which is for HVAC companies. So let me just show you an example of that. For example, if I go back to the home page here, this, for example, is a HVAC company, and you can see here I have these HVAC units detected. So this is not at all for just low voltage. We wanted this demonstration to be very specific to cabling companies and low voltage companies because that was our target audience, and we wanted to make sure that we are showing them something that resonates with them, but we can do this on almost any object. If let's say you have some drawings that have elephants in them, we can have a model train on those elephants and it will detect all the elephants that you have in those drawings. Just like here, you see it's a hexagon, right? So I'm detecting hexagons. It depends upon which object I select in the legend. And yes, then I have to have a model that is trained on that object and then you're ready to go. We are talking to a company that wants to detect openings in a drawing. We're talking to multiple different companies and they all want to detect different things. So not at all just for the low voltage company.
Perfect. Um, I had a question as well, Tayyib, if you don't mind. And I'm sorry if this is slowing it down. Just for the benefit of us all, do you mind explaining the benefit of having a perpetual license as opposed to a subscription-based software? I mean, does it mean that we control all our own data and it is customized to every particular business's needs?
100%, but a couple of more things there. When you go with the subscription-based license, if you have a new object that you want to detect, if you have something that doesn't work, you don't have any control over working with anybody to be able to configure that. With this, what happens is that you have a perpetual license, but we have a support contract with us. And if you have new type of a business that you want to launch or something new that it doesn't detect, you can reach out to us and we'll train the model and you can start using that. So essentially, you have just an onboarding cost of us understanding your object of interest and training the model on that, and then configuring it and deploying it for you. But then you own it perpetually for as many users as you want. Obviously, you have to pay for the AI model and the tokens that it consumes. And we are also thinking about having local LLMs eventually, so you would probably not have to pay for that. Obviously, you have to pay for electricity consumption for running those models. But the whole idea is that we don't want to be in that traditional SaaS model where you get stuck in that model and you don't own anything for your organization and it can never evolve to your evolving needs. So we feel that, especially with the new trends out there, this is a lot more flexible. This gives you a lot more ownership, and you can configure and fine tune it to your business. For example, I was talking about adding more cable length for, say, a Volt or an MDF. We will, let's say, if you come to us and you say, when you create a project, I want these 5 configurations to be there too. We will add those for you because it's going to be just something that is specifically tailored and built for you. So that's the reason why we are not trying to do a SaaS-based model. But most importantly, obviously, for every customer, we'll have to train the models on what they are interested in terms of the object detection. And if we did it that way, then it would just become specific to a low voltage company. So somebody, I think, asked a question. They said, is it only for low voltage? No, because we can configure it for anything. Versus if it was a SaaS-based application, it would just solve one problem, and that's not what we are trying to do. We are consultants with specialization in this industry, and our thought process is to be able to solve the problems for good, specifically in this industry, so that you don't have to rely on these SaaS-based applications.
Fair enough. I've got a couple of others as well, Tayyab,
Sure.
since you're in the role. So Emil here asked, is this for individual use or can the database be accessed by one or more people without exporting the Excel sheet in real time? You may be something like a smart sheet.
It's not for, I mean, you can do that, absolutely, but you can have as many users as you want on this. So we'll be deploying it in your Azure instance, and then you can have 5 people using it. Like I said, it's a perpetual license, it's not per user per month. So and that might change in the future, but for now, especially people on this webinar and the customers that we are onboarding, you can have all those people come in. You can absolutely share Excel as well. You can put it in SharePoint and then share from there, like I showed you in that other system. So you own it, you can do whatever you want to do with it. And all the people can still go into a project and they can generate their own takeoffs as well. So for example, this is another already existing project. I go in there and it's sitting here. I say approve and continue, and I can download my Excel from here. So anybody can go in and download. Now this, I'm logged in. Obviously, there's a security provision. If you want that only this person should be able to do that, then they'll have to log in to see these projects. And if you are someone else who needs access to these, then they can download that Excel and send it to you.
Perfect. So Cable Masters asked, why choose your product over Bluebeam object detection?
Thank you for asking. I mean, we like Bluebeam still. You have to go, you have to click, and then it has so many errors in it. And you open the page and then you move the cursor and it moves so slow. Uh, I feel that based on what you saw, you would probably want this a lot more than Bluebeam. Plus, Bluebeam is expensive. You pay per user per month for it. It's a SaaS-based application. You don't own any of it. They are obviously going to try to incorporate AI, but it can never tailor it for you. They're such a large organization. There are many, many good reasons for you to try out what you saw, and I think it works and functions a lot better than what you will get with Bluebeam.
Right. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Tayyib. Those are the questions I had for now. I think we have 5 minutes to go. So if you need to wrap up, and
Sure.
I'll probably do a closing at the end.
Sure, sounds good. So I just want to say that obviously we're talking about this just one AI-based estimation automation. I just want you to know anything you guys do which involves a PDF where you manually key in data. We've done all of these solutions for many of our customers using AI. Obviously, we're talking about takeoffs here, but we can do bidding document generation for you guys. We can do proposal generation. We can do resource allocation and a lot of other things as well. I want to just leave you with this, that usually the process is we kind of come in, we understand your specific drawings, what are the objects you're looking for. We want to cut through the buzz around AI and just between the hype that you hear about, which also create the skepticism that you hear about AI. There's a very nice medium, which is results that AI can drive. And that's where we want to operate as AlphaBOLD. And that's where we are operating. So things that we are showcasing to you are possible today. So in some organizations, if your executive leadership is not ready for adopting AI, please have them connect with us, talk to us. We have a very step strategic approach on how you can incorporate AI into your application. That's the same thing that we use. If you're interested in this product, that's what we will do. We will come, we will talk to you, we'll review some of the drawings that you have, we will come back, we will train our models, test those, then deploy it in your instance and have you guys test those before we say we are prime time ready. So that's the AI assessment approach that we use for all the onboarding of the customers on this specific tool that we were showcasing. And usually it comes down to these steps. One is the diagnostic process, which is identifying your organization needs, then going into the data analysis, and then obviously the deliverable, which in this case is going to be this tool, or we can have other deliverables that you can use as well. Over to you for closing, Tim.
Right. Thanks, Tayyab. Just quickly, one more question. I probably can take this, but please feel free to add. Cable Masters asked, do you have a price range we can discuss? I'll let Tayyab add, but the one thing I'll say is, like Tayyab has been saying, remember, it's not an out of the box custom SaaS product. I'm sorry, it's not an out of the box SaaS product. It's customized to your particular needs, which is why we offer a perpetual license. So I believe that would be a variation. And what we start doing from tomorrow, I've already shared my email address in the chat box. Please feel free to reach out to us. What we'll do here on, we'll set up one-to-one calls with you guys, go through your particular pain points, and then devise a solution that fits your needs. Tayyab, if you need to add something to that.
No, I think that's spot on. The only reason we can't provide it to you is because we'll have to see what objects you are interested in, what is the variation of that detection that you want, what sample data that you have available. Obviously, a lot of you companies you already have tons of sample data. And that kind of allows us to determine what that cost is. But I want you to know that it's a very minimalistic onboarding effort. It's not huge because the whole architecture that I showed you is built to scale. The only piece that changes in there is when you detect the object and you pick the model. So just to show it to you one more time, when I, for example, go in here, as I upload this, the only piece that I'll be changing for you guys is, let's say, you say, I'm not interested in this particular triangle. I want something else detected in this. So what we will be doing for you is that we will say, okay, what is that thing? And let's say you say it is going to be, let's say for the sake of this conversation, it is going to be this circle here, right? So I say, okay, if this is the circle, I don't have a model that detects it. So I will have to then train a model that is going to detect it for you. So that's the piece where I have to onboard you and spend time with you. Once I'm done with that, then rest of this application is ready for you to be able to use that. So just to give you more color to answer your question, that's why, like Timur mentioned, we'll have to kind of have that one-to-one conversation with you and tell you exactly what that effort is to onboard you onto this.
Perfect. Thank you, Tayyab. Well, I'll just close with this. Like David's been saying, again, remember, with AI, with all the talk around AI, there's this polarized range from a fluff and a buzz to skepticism. And like Dave said, we like to be in the middle where we really want to use AI today to deliver tangible value and solve real life problems. And that's where truly AI's benefit is beyond the chatbots. And because we're a consulting company and because it's a customized solution, we heavily rely on you guys, our customers and potential customers, to have those conversations with us because we really want to identify your pain points and solve those problems. So, like I said before, the next step, and obviously this video would be shared with you guys as well. But the next step would be that we schedule one-to-one calls with you guys, with our consulting teams. We go through your actual processes and workflows, identify problems, and we solve for those, and then give you the perpetual solutions that you own. I want to leave you guys with something lighter. So I remember talking to this one estimator and asked, "So what's a usual estimator setup like?" And I remember him replying a PDF, a spreadsheet, a ruler, and a prayer, because a lot of that is error prone. So I hope with what Tayyab shared today, that's answered a lot of our prayers. I, for one, coming from that engineering and AC background, I'm really excited to see this coming through. And with this, I'll beg your leave, but I'm really looking forward to scheduling calls with all of you and having these discussions further. Thank you all for your time, and thank you for joining in.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.